Today we have Bitcoin sitting at $59,500. We have the stock market rallying with the SPY sitting at 539 and the Qs at 459. Today the PPI numbers came out and they rose less than expected, so that is helping to drive asset prices up. And we had the Musk and Trump interview on Twitter last night, so we will talk about that, what that potentially means for the markets, and we will discuss what stocks, commodities, and crypto you should be looking at to gain outperforming returns. And we will also take a look at what is going on behind the scenes, what's driving these market prices up, and can this rally continue or is it going to sell off? All right, guys, welcome back. It is Tuesday. Hope you're all having a great day out there. Be sure to hit the like button if you like this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And let's get into the video. All right, so what is going on in the markets? We have gold rallying to potentially new all-time highs here, setting at 2469. So gold has been looking really strong here the past couple of weeks. Looks like it may want to go break those all-time highs. We still have price targets for 2,600 and possibly $3,000 for gold. That is also driving other metal markets higher, and some of these markets look like they have probably put in a short-term bottom here and may do well in the coming weeks and months. One of those is silver. Silver setting at 2763. It looks like we may have found a little base here for silver. In the intermediate term, of course, silver lags the price of gold, and so if gold is moving up, then we would suspect that silver is going to continue to at least go retest those previous all-time highs here around $32 with a price target of around $33 on silver. A lot of these metal markets have been oversold, including copper, and copper looks like it may be finding a base as well, but that's good for the miners, including this silver miner ETF SIL setting at 31.37, bouncing off our 618 here and finding a bit of resistance at the moment around at the 382. We also have the RSIs at the bottom side on the daily. So that suggests that we should see silver start to move higher. Of course, we have this long basing formation. And once we broke out of that, well, we went up to our first take profit zone here. We've touched the profit zone once, nearly twice, and that zone is 36.50 approximately to $39. Another silver miner is ticker symbol AG. This is the weekly chart, and you can see here that we have had this long downtrend for this silver miner, and once we broke out of that, we've come back down and retested that line. We have officially put in a higher high here, or a higher low rather, and so it's looking good for this stock. This stock is sitting currently at 538 and could go much higher here if silver continues to rally. we do suspect that the metals markets will continue to rise over the next uh, several years. Particularly metals such as gold and silver are good defensive plays when there is concerns in the market. And so that is one thing I would be looking at. I have been looking at, but yeah, this looks like a very great price for ticker symbol AG. What other markets are doing well? Well, the HSI is looks like it may have put in a higher low here. This is the weekly chart, and we did print a bullish hammer. Uh, so it looks like the HSI, the Chinese market, may have found another temporary bottom here, a series of higher lows and higher highs. So as we've mentioned here several times on this channel, it looked like the Chinese market was starting to turn here earlier this year. And a lot of these emerging markets are looking pretty good. I do believe a lot of people are looking to other markets as the stock market continues to rally, um, just to help diversify and find other means of investments where maybe they feel like certain stocks are overvalued and they want to kind of hedge against that. So that is good for stocks in China, such as Alibaba sitting at $80.96. Um, Finding a bit of resistance here at this zone. Uh, we have been moving up here for the past several days. The RSIs are getting a bit toppy on shorter term time frames. However, on the longer term time frames, uh, this looks like this is pretty good entries on some of these stocks. Of course, there's several of them out there. I know Tencent is doing well, although we don't have access to that here necessarily in the US unless you have access to a certain trading platform or exchange rather. And so that's something to keep in mind. So, what happened with the Trump and Musk interview? Well, um, I listened to part of it. Overall, it sounded pretty good. Just kind of mostly the same talking points. There was a delay at the start of the interview. Uh, Apparently, some sort of technical glitch or possibly an attack on the platform. However, if you look at if you just Google and look at what is being said about the interview and you look at all these headlines, well, you can see it was kind of negative from a media perspective. You have the Harris campaign criticizing Trump for serving self-obsessed rich guys. Trump rambles and slurs his way through the Elon Musk interview. You also have uh, different outlets here claiming different things. Of course, I don't want to talk about politics too much on this channel, but I just wanted to point out that typically the media likes to paint a certain picture um, that causes fear and scares investors and traders out of the markets. And so that is going on. And if you hadn't had a chance to listen to that interview, I suggest that you just at least take a look and see what happened there. I thought it was pretty interesting that Elon decided to endorse Trump. Um, I think that is a good thing for this country. Um, However, politics aside, the Tesla stock is rising, sitting at 204.86. And we had this pennant forming here on Tesla and we broke out of that. So it looks like Tesla wants to move up here. Some of these stocks have been oversold, um, and it does look like Tesla could move up at least to that 220 range, which would be the 382 off this last move. We mentioned this stock several times here after breaking out of this previous wedge that we thought we would see Tesla pump to this zone, and it actually went through it. Um, and it has sold off since then and gapped back down. You can see here, it looks like it's going for this gap fill right around 207.51. So I do suspect it'll probably reach that level. If I was looking to try and trade this, I would wait for it to potentially come back down in this zone here around $200 and do get an entry there. Over the long term, I think that you will see this stock higher. It was really beaten down earlier this year, and we do have a gap fill setting up here around the 246 area. So that will probably most likely get filled at some point, although it may be a while. I still think Tesla has room to the upside. So that is one stock to keep an eye on. And some of these semiconductors have really been sold off. This is SMCI setting at 573. Looks like we have put in a bottom here on this stock in the shorter term time frames. Could the stock go lower? Yes. This stock has had a massive rally, but nevertheless, um, this stock has really been beaten down relative to some of the other um, semiconductors, and so I do think that you could see this stock uh, do pretty well here over the intermediate term. We do have a gap fill sitting right around 669, and there is another one up higher, up around 872. A lot of these stocks have gapped down on this sell off and this weakness, and we know those gaps typically do get filled at some point. The average projection for this stock is around $800. So maybe we will go back up and test that area on this stock. That is a quite a outstanding return if you just take a look from measurement from the bottom, not even including the wick. If we just went up to $800, well, that's like a 63% return. That is just wild, and you could see that happen uh, relatively quickly. So that is something to keep in mind. Of course, overall, the stock market direction of the stock market will determine what happens here. So we can take a look at the S&P, and it looks like it wants to go up for that gap fill setting at 542. One thing I did want to point out on the Qs is we are running into this trend line that we had here, which was sloping up and acting as support. You can see we fell through it before, but we regained that area, so it will be critical that we regain that area. Uh, if this stock market is going to go higher, we could see a rejection here. The Q's got the gap fill here this morning at 459, so we may see a little pullback or rejection in this area, and then maybe we can get back above that area. Of course, we've got some gap fills higher up on the Qs. I do suspect those will get filled at some point. If you're interested in buying stocks, commodities, or crypto, you can do so with Robinhood. Right now, Robinhood is offering a 1% boost when you open an account, plus they give you one free stock, and they have 8 times the national savings rate. They allow you to begin investing and building your portfolio with just as little as $1. and you can trade commission free at your own pace. You can select stocks, options, ETFs, crypto, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, as well as gold. So if you're interested, there is a link down below in the description. But what is going on with crypto? What's going on with Bitcoin? Well, let's get into all that. First off, we have the total 3 market cap, which is everything minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. It looks like we probably have put in uh, a low here, and that some of these altcoins may start to rally. You can see that we wicked down into our box here perfectly, finding support. That box has not been changed. I have not changed this chart here, other than dragging these boxes out, but nevertheless, that uh, just shows the power of TA. Um, and so I thought that was very interesting, and I do think that you are going to start seeing some of these cryptocurrencies and altcoins really start to take off. We had this post over here on X by Jesse Cohen just in the June US PPI annual inflation rises 2.2% below the expected 2.3%. So that is what is help driving these markets up this morning. And we know that if inflation does come down, then we may get a rate cut in September. And it's looking like we probably will. Will we get a 25-point basis cut or a 50-point cut is the question a lot of people are asking. Um, I think that we probably will get a rate cut in September, and that it will probably be 25 basis points. Uh, if we do get a 50-point basis cut, that could be bad for the markets. That could show that the Federal Reserve is freaking out and there is something broken in the background. So that's something to keep in mind. I do think that we could see a rally through the end of August here into September, with a little pullback, possibly going into that rate cut or just after that rate cut. And then I do think that these markets will really take off probably later this fall. What else is going on that's helped driving asset prices up? You have the global money supply, and this chart was posted by Charles Edwards over on X, and he basically showed this chart here of the global money supply. Took this box. This is going back from the 2000s, and you can see how we have constantly been in an uptrend, driving asset prices higher. That is why everything is so expensive and driving up that inflation. And if you zoom in on this section down here, you can see that we just broke that trend line there of those all-time highs on the money supply. So we know that the central banks around the world are stepping in and supporting these markets. We had the bonds buyback program uh, announcements here the past couple of weeks, and we see that they are increasing the rate at which they are buying back the bonds, helping to support the markets. And that's why I do believe we will see asset prices continue to go higher for the next 6 to 12 to possibly 18 months. And of course, if that happens, well, that would be good for things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin, or Ethereum rather, sitting at 2661. We had quite the sell off here on Ethereum when we had the markets drop last Monday, and I didn't really expect that Ethereum would go this low, although we had this box down here. We talked about this potentially being a zone that you could see this drop to. We were ranging sideways here between about 2,900 and $4,000 on Ethereum, and once the spot ETF launched, well, of course, there was a lot of selling by Grayscale and the trust fund that was there, but nevertheless, I do think that you are going to continue to see people buy these new spot ETFs like we saw with Bitcoin. There is potentially another spot ETF announcement that may come sometime here in the coming months for Solana. Solana sitting at 146.60, and it's holding up here a lot better than several of these other altcoins. And so I do think you will see Solana go up to this first take profit zone around 225 to 250 for traders. For investors, I think Solana goes much higher. You probably do see it hit over $500, possibly 700, 800 or higher. I've heard some estimates even more than that, but conservatively, I do think that Solana will probably at least go to around $600 to $700 this bull cycle if everything continues to play out like we suspect here over the next 6 to 12 months. I think that we may see the markets potentially peak by the summer of 2025. Um, Crypto typically rallies in the fall, so that's something to keep in mind. So I do think this fall you will start to see a lot of these altcoins start to move. What about Bitcoin? Well, it has shown a little bit of weakness here in the past couple of days, coming down, wicking below $58,000. We thought that this may happen here a couple days ago. I mentioned this, that I thought we may come down and retest this area, and that would probably act as support. I thought that was probably the most likely zone that we may see a bounce. I think that will probably most likely hold as long as the stock market holds up. If we do see the stock market start to sell off and roll over, we could potentially go back down and maybe see Bitcoin come down back down to this level here one more time, right around 51 to $52,000, somewhere about halfway on that wick. That wick does show an inefficiency in the market. A lot of times those wicks will retrace about 50% of the way. So that's a possibility. Of course, if there was broader concerns in the stock market, if the there is something broken in the background and everybody freaks out, you could see Bitcoin potentially go lower, but I don't think that is very likely at this point. I still think that we have probably put in a temporary bottom, and more than likely, we are going to go higher here. And if we can get to this 36,000 or 63,300 to $500 range and hold that as support, well, I think that will mark a higher low, and that will get a lot of people excited. And once Bitcoin and some of these cryptos start to move, they move very quickly. And I think that we may see that here in the coming days and weeks, where we could get above that zone. If we zoom out on the weekly chart here for Bitcoin, well, you see we have this candle here, which is a doji, but I do think that this is starting to look pretty bullish. We have the RSIs coming down to the bottom side on the stochastic RSI, and what I see here on the weekly is it looks like we may potentially get another golden cross like we've seen here a couple times. Of course, these crosses mark these big green bars, green candles, and I think that if this pattern continues to play out, well, we will probably go back up and retest those all-time highs here very soon. And if we can get above that level and hold that, well, I really think the Bitcoin will take off to 80 or $90,000 or possibly that $100,000 level by the end of the year. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or many more, you can do so with iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital allows you to buy, sell, and trade crypto, gold, and silver 24/7 with low cost and no monthly fee in a tax advantage IRA. I use iTrust Capital and rolled over a portion of my IRA with iTrust to gain exposure specifically to crypto, and they have over 5,000 plus 5-star reviews on Google. If you're interested, there is a link down below. And what I like about iTrust is they have people that you can actually call and talk to. And when you sign up, you get a $100 bonus for signing up. So again, there is a referral link down below. I do appreciate it. And guys, don't forget to go follow me over on X at Mind of Financier. I am Mind of the Financier on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, but I post anything that I see to do with stocks, commodities, and crypto over here on X. So be sure to go follow me over there. Also, drop a comment below. Let me know if there's any stocks or uh, cryptos or commodities that you want me to take a look at, and we can take a look at those together. And I hope everyone has a great day, guys. Until next time, be legendary, take care, and peace out.